It's always.
Okay, we are going to West Valley City, where police are speaking about the homicide case there.
And we were not able to find anything that indicated any kind of an emergency or any kind of a crime. And so we told the family member to please keep in touch with us if there was anything further that they needed. Today, the woman who lives inside this home did not show up for work. So that same family member did come back to the house and actually entered the garage of the home. Inside the garage, she found one of the family members who lives here, a 17-year-old male, and he appeared injured. So the family member called us again and we came out. When we got here, we found the 17-year-old male alive in the garage with what appeared to be a gunshot wound. Officers then entered the home and found the bodies of 5 people inside. The 5 people inside are a 42-year-old male, a 38-year-old female, an 11-year-old boy, a 9-year-old girl, and a 2-year-old girl. The initial information that we have indicates that all of the deceased inside of this home are members of the same family who live inside this home.
17-year-old is the son?
The 17-year-old is also a son who lives inside this home, yes.
And is the 17-year-old the one who's in the hospital tonight?
He is, yes.
Did it appear that he was attempting a murder-suicide?
We don't know at this point. We do not know at this point if he is a suspect in this case or a victim in this case. And so, because he is injured and he is in the hospital, there are some challenges in communicating with him and finding out more information. So, just to give you an idea of the process here, when we get called out to a situation like this and we enter the home, the initial officers who respond to this, they enter the home and they see that there are deceased people inside. So they very quickly ensure that there's no one else in the home who might need assistance and that there are no suspects inside the home. And then they pull back out of the home and wait for a search warrant to be able to enter and conduct further investigation, for investigators to get in there and start their work of gathering information and evidence. So that portion of this has not happened yet. We have submitted a request for we've submitted a search warrant, but that has not yet been granted, so we're still waiting for that part. And then once that happens, then our detectives will be able to get inside the house, start really looking around, and start processing some evidence and gathering some evidence that will help tell us more about what exactly happened. In the meantime, we have been looking around the neighborhood, canvassing the neighborhood and talking to folks in the area, looking for any kind of information that we might be able to gather from things like doorbell cameras and things like that, information from people who know the family and who live around the family and that sort of thing. So once we're able to get inside the house and start taking a deeper look into everything, we believe that will probably provide a lot more information.
The 5 dead, do you believe, you mentioned the 17-year-old appeared to be a gunshot wound, or the same for the 5?
Yes.
Is there anyone outside of the family that you're looking at as far as a suspect? Do you believe there's a suspect on the loose?
We do not believe there's a suspect on the loose. We believe at this point that this is an incident that's isolated to this home. Now, that's the initial indication that we have, and like I say, once we get into that house, we're going to learn a lot more. So things could change very rapidly. But at this point, all indications tell us that this is something that is isolated to this home.
So the timeline, so it had been a few days since anyone had been able to make contact with them. The 17-year-old, did it appear that his injuries were from a couple of days ago?
That's information that I don't have at this point.
Okay, and the extended family, do they have extended family that live around here?
Yes, so it was a family member who had been looking for the woman who lives in the home. This family member has consistent contact with the woman who lives inside the home. That contact had dropped off, and that was concerning for her. As we know, adults, have the right to do what they want to do, and they don't have to communicate with their family members if they don't want to about it. So that's kind of a tricky balance in protecting people's rights to do what they want to do, but also acknowledging the concerns of family members. So that's what brought us out here last night. But without any sort of evidence of a crime having been committed, or without any sort of evidence of an emergent situation, then we just have to step back and see if there's anything further that comes up that we can act upon. So it was a family member who was concerned about her family member that actually prompted the look into the home in the first place.
And what time did you guys get here today?
Today the call was, I think it was around 2:10 p.m.
Okay. And how long does it take to process this tonight? When do you expect to get that search warrant?
I don't know. I really don't have a timeline on when the search warrant might be approved and that might come in. As far as a timeline on the investigation, I think it really depends on, what they find once they get in there. And we're talking obviously about a very dynamic crime scene. If you have 5, victims inside of this home, that's a lot to process and a lot of evidence to recover and that sort of thing. But again, once they get in there, information may be very clear, but it may not be. So that's the thing that we need to do at this point, is just get in there, see what we're looking at, and start to put together the pieces of this puzzle to see exactly what this is.
And that woman who was concerned about, or the woman who the family member was concerned about, is
Yes.
that the 38-year-old female?
Yes, yes, it is.
Can you tell us how the 17-year-old is doing tonight?
I don't have his condition. I will see if I can get that and get that updated. I'll put that out on Twitter. I know he suffered a pretty significant injury, and so I know he's in a condition where we've not really been able to communicate well with him. So I'll double check on the specific condition and get that information out to you.
And just to confirm, that 17-year-old is a family member of the five.
That is correct. This home had 2 parents and 4 children living inside, ages 17, 11, 9, and 2. And the 17-year-old would be the oldest child of that group.
You mentioned those ages, young. It seems like a heavy case. How is everyone doing today? How does this compare to just everyday routine work?
This is far beyond anything routine. We were just taking a look at the numbers today of homicides that happened in this city, and there were 4 in this city for the entire year of 2024. So this more than doubles that number. So that tells you in and of itself that this is not something that you see, in a regular situation.
Absolutely horrific. I mean, little kids, the family.
Yeah, absolutely horrific. This is something that certainly will weigh heavily upon investigators in this case. The West Valley City Police Department is very fortunate to have a on-staff therapist. So our officers are mandated to see our on-staff therapist twice a year, and she's
Okay, we're going to pull out of that news conference there with West Valley City Police. A disturbing story unfolding there. 5 family members found dead in a home there in West Valley City. We're told a family member hadn't heard from them in several days, came to check on them, and found the victims dead. And here's what we know about them. We have a 42-year-old man, a 38-year-old woman, an 11-year-old boy, a 9-year-old girl, and a 2-year-old girl dead. There's a 17-year-old boy found injured who is now in the hospital. Police are not sure yet at this point how things played out. They have to get a warrant to get inside the house and start gathering evidence. No suspects named yet, but they are calling this a homicide. Our Sarah Murphy is on the scene. She's talking with police, talking with neighbors, trying to understand as well what happened there. And we will hear from her later on tonight as this story develops very quickly. Count on us to keep you clued in as to what's happening tonight in West Valley City.